drum of support for a life-saving cause.
Tommy Ford was excited to be at Jackson Memorial Hospital for the annual National Minority Organ Donor Awareness Day. The star of the show, Martin, hopes more people will learn about organ donation and also sign up.
That's our news for now. Thank you for joining us.
Steve and I will see you back here tonight at 11. For now, we'll take you to New York and the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
A convention bounce for Bush. Signs he's picking up support as he heads for the official GOP presidential nomination. A formal rival takes the spotlight tonight, but tells CBS his political battles are not over. Outside the convention, new trouble with protesters on the streets of Philadelphia. And CBS News investigates the latest enemy for the U.S. military, Russ.
This is the CBS Evening News, with Dan Rather reporting from the Republican National Convention in Philadelphia.
Good evening. Outside the tranquility of this hall, protesters are clashing with police at this hour, trying to disrupt business as usual in this Republican convention city. Police have arrested at least 90 people, with the confrontations continuing. At least one location, protesters have been seen hitting police, and the officers were using their batons in response. Now, most of this activity is a long way from the convention center, but some delegates have been stymied in their efforts to make their way from downtown hotels to the evening session. At several intersections, protesters linked arms and blocked downtown streets. This is one street seen this evening from a high shot. It's part of the context. Tension between police and protest groups have been building all day. There were some clashes with police, and there have been scores of arrests as the hour grows late. One focus of police attention today has been a warehouse in the city. CBS's Susan Spencer of 48 Hours has late details. Susan, what's going on there?
Dan, acting on a tip that a group of self-styled anarchists was planning these massive rush hour traffic tie-ups, Philadelphia police converged on this West Philadelphia neighborhood in early afternoon. A 3-hour standoff ensued outside this warehouse, anarchist headquarters. Inside, scores of protesters and police fought stores of plastic pipe and other materials to be used in street disruptions. After lengthy negotiations and the arrival of a search warrant, the doors opened and reporters got a glimpse of preparations for the protest that did not happen downtown. Some 70 protesters were led off one by one, chanting but peaceful.
We're not violent, how about you?
But other groups were far more successful. Arms encased in plastic pipe, they lay in the streets and tied up traffic in at least 4 major Philadelphia intersections, including streets surrounding City Hall. Scores were arrested, but there were no reports of violence. The police were acting with considerable restraint. The last thing the city of brotherly love wants is for an incident to break into something really serious. Dan, as you said, none of this happened very near the convention, but these are some of the same protesters who were in Seattle and Washington, D.C., and the police are braced for possibly more trouble tomorrow. Dan?
Susan Spencer. Now, here inside the convention hall, the Bush-Cheney campaign is selling hard on the theme that its tightly scripted, smiley-face message is going over big time with voters. They are selling the idea that polls are beginning to show that. The convention will stay on message tonight with a trio of U.S. war heroes attesting to their confidence in Governor Bush's untested ability to handle any world crisis and keep up America's military readiness. John McCain is tonight's featured point man on that front. CBS's Bob Schieffer is our designated point man at the podium. Bob?
Dan, the second night of a convention is usually reserved to attack the opposition party, but there'll be nothing of that kind in here tonight. The Republicans have been putting an emphasis on staying positive, and today they got the news they'd been hoping for. The strategy seems to be working even better for them. The attack ads that the Democrats have been launching this week may be backfiring on them. A bipartisan poll conducted by Voter.com asked people who had seen or heard George Bush over Sunday and Monday if they were more or less likely to vote for him. 48% said more likely, while 33% said less likely. Only 37% who had seen or heard Al Gore said they were more likely to vote for him. 43% said they were less likely.
George W. Bush chose Dick
That
Cheney
means
to
that
lead the
ads like this,
Republican
attacking Bush's running mate Dick Cheney, which Democrats aired in 17 key states, could be backfiring, and Republicans couldn't be happier.
Make sure that nobody's blocking it tonight.
So when John McCain practiced the speech he'll deliver in prime time tonight, there was no attack on Democrats, but a call for an international outlook.
We shouldn't build walls to the global success of our interests and values. Walls are for cowards, my friends, not for Americans.
Nominee Bush's father is one of the former presidents being honored tonight, but when reporters tried to go to him into criticizing Bill Clinton, he too refused to go negative.
You know, I've been very good about not criticizing the president for 8 years, and I believe I can continue through the rest of his term.
So no attacks tonight. Republicans have decided the high road is not only the best way to go, it's the best politics. Dan.
Bob Schieffer, thanks. With military readiness one of the convention themes tonight, CBS News national security correspondent David Martin has been investigating conditions inside some U.S. Armed Forces facilities. Here's what Martin dug up on his close-up inspection field trip.
It takes 2 men to open the ancient door to a leaky ammo bunker at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia.
Why don't you fix the door?
It's a money issue.
Decrepit ammo bunkers are only one of Chief Master Sergeant Paul Stuffel's problems. This is his headquarters building.
A lot of these offices flood out. A lot of our carpet gets wet, and it comes right down the inside of the walls.
Some days you don't know if you're going to sink or swim when you walk in the office in here.
Sergeant Jim Bieber has to work on a raised platform to stay dry.
We've seen a lot of the facilities that used to be decent facilities, they're just falling apart.
50 of the 300 buildings at Langley Air Force Base have leaky roofs. So when a torrential downpour hit, it gave new meaning to the term bailing out and brought Colonel Steve Goldfean's fighter wing to a standstill.
Show of hands, how many had some kind of water problems inside their facilities on Monday?
2 days after the downpour, the wing was flying again, but fully a third of its F-15s were down for repairs.
There are many ways to measure what has happened to the military during the Clinton years, but here's one. At the start of the Clinton administration, 85% of all combat units in the Air Force were rated ready to go to war. By the start of this year, that number had declined to just 65%.
We're in a tug of war, and we're very slowly losing. We're very slowly being pulled towards the mud pit.
Are you getting the resources you need to do your job? No, sir.
No, sir.
None of you think you're getting the resources?
No, sir. There's generally a shortage whenever we try to get something. We have a lot of problems getting some parts.
So the mechanics have to take parts out of one F-15 to keep another one flying.
We take a perfectly good airplane and put it into a hangar, and we take whatever parts we need.
It all worked to near perfection in Kosovo, where U.S. planes dominated the sky. But General John Jumper says the rest of the Air Force had to be drained to do it. In his words, there was great risk.
Great risk. What does that mean?
Unable to perform. We would have had very great difficulty trying to respond to a crisis of equal proportion.
Jumper, who commands virtually all the warplanes in the U.S., says he simply does not have enough money to operate his forces. He can use stopgap measures to keep the planes flying, but just about everything else that needs fixing will have to wait. David Martin, CBS News, Langley Air Force Base, Virginia.
The Summer of Love message being beamed by Bush to appeal to moms, moderates, and minorities is, by Republican accounts and some others, working for him. Bill Whitaker gives you a look beyond the images to sort out the faces and the facts of the Bush strategy.
When you see the faces on the stage and hear the rhetoric,
it's important to challenge what I call the soft bigotry of low expectations.
At every stop,
in Texas, our test scores are up dramatically, particularly amongst African-American students and Latino students. There's no second-rate citizens as far as I'm concerned.
You get the message of a party of inclusion, but turn the camera and the sea of faces sends a different message. It's the rare crowd with more than a handful of faces of color, and most of those seem strategically placed within camera range of the Texas governor. Today, Bush said he's more concerned with the size of the crowds than their color.
In the Texas election, I can't remember the nature of the crowds we were getting, but the nature of the vote was pretty darn positive for a Republican. I got nearly 50% of the Hispanic vote and over a quarter of the African-American vote.
It's like he took a page from President Bill Clinton's playbook, seized the middle and smoothed the party's rough edges. So, while his father ran on Willie Horton,
Horton received 10 weekend passes from prison.
George W. Bush is reaching across the color line in words and photo ops. The GOP, tired of losing, is going along, even when chided by Colin Powell for not doing enough.
It has to be a sustained effort. It must be every day, and it must be for real.